So here we are with the Putzmeister 58 RZ, which features undoubtedly the best outrigger design ever used on a concrete pump. So why I say that is it's got these telescoping front legs that have a reverse slewing pattern to them. What this allows us to do is, with this side short rigged and positioned exactly where it is, we get a full 180 degrees working range. So we can come flat out off the cab of the pump, right in line with the Bulldog there. Whereas with a conventional outrigger design, your slewing range would be limited to being in line with this outrigger. So what we end up with is 180 degrees working range. So center of the cab, all the way around to the center of the hopper. So it's highly, highly advantageous for working in the city. Set up like this, we're about 28 feet wide here in the front. Fully rigged, this pump is about 38 in the front, 36 feet wide in the back. So how this works is, this is actually a 4-stage outrigger. So what we've done is, one of the telescoping stages, you lock it out, and I might not be able to get this off. Oh, there we go. This plate stores right there, and then you move it like so, and that locks in that one stage. Otherwise, you end up with all 4 stages, and instead of this outrigger sitting in line with the other fully extended front outrigger, you end up sitting up here, about 5 feet further, which is fine if you have the space for that. The other advantage of using all 4 stages is you could actually position this front outrigger anywhere you want. Any intermediate position is fine if you're trying to work around obstacles or obstructions on site. With the outrigger in the shortened position like it is here, you can't slew this out any further, because what that does is, as it comes out, that foot moves rearward in relation to the pedestal of the pump, and you lose your stability off the front end. So with the one stage locked out, it's got to be right here. All 4 stages out, plant it wherever you want. That being said, even if you can get the thing out another 4 or 5 feet, you still cannot come any further than the center line of the cab. You can't cheat it this way, not permissible. So anyhow, that is the reason why this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite pump of all time, is those front outriggers. It's unfortunate they've moved away from this design. I think just due to production costs as well as weight. It is a heavy design. They still do use them on the current production 63 meter Putzmeister, but the 56 meter and 47 meter and whatnot, they just use a conventional telescoping outrigger. So anyhow, for that reason, we will probably hang on to this pump forever. Maybe some point we'll retruck it, refurbish it, but it is basically irreplaceable. Unfortunately, in our market, our road restrictions will not allow for a 63 meter Putzmeister. It's just a few thousand pounds too heavy. So anyhow, we'll just take a little walk around here and check in on Corey and see what he's got going on today. Got some Dyka dunnage down, Fibermax pads on top of a few 4x6s. Normally I'll run that top pad squared up, and then the Fibermax pads don't bend as much. Distributes the weight a little bit more evenly, but this works. It is what it is. What's going on?
How you doing?
Say something smart. Pump on, that's about all you get. So we got the long 3.5 inch single-ended hose, and the reason why we had that long hose on here is just past that crane mast. It's probably tough to see, there's a little segment of wall, so we got to stretch out. They got to push the hose in and lay it out to get at that. So that's why we've thrown that long hose on for the last couple loads of SOG here, and then we'll just swing right over and reach into that. 3.5 inch hose, couple little reducers that does not put the boom over its weight capacity of 365 pounds. It puts us right at that limit, but not over it, so we are within our weight restrictions from the end of the boom there. And obviously no metal end on there, because that's a big no-no. We don't do that. Always single-ended whip hose. And he's got his fancy dancy air cuff on there too. Always handy. So anyhow, that's about it. One other point of note, we got some high voltage wires on the perimeter of the site. Our regulation on those is 20 feet, and we don't get even not within even 40 feet of those things, so no concerns with having to encroach on those things. So they sure are still a little bit scary to look at. I hate wires like that with all them insulators and whatnot. It just look nasty. So anyhow, it's about it here. It's got about 150 cubic meters slab on grade. They stretch out and pour that wall. See what I was saying? When you put the pad on these, the top pad squared up on these Dyka pads, they don't bend so much. Those ones have a little bit of a bend to them. That being said, these Fibermax pads, which are like fiberglass, Kevlar, or whatever you want to call it, way more rigid than your traditional plastic pads. These plastic pads work great on the non-working side or on you know, reasonable ground conditions, but on the mushy stuff, definitely prefer those yellow Fibermax pads. So yeah, that'll be it for today. 58.5, awesome front outriggers. It's got the OSS key switch, which limits you from working outside of the permissible range. So it's all safe, documented in the user's manual, and overall, it's just awesome. Over and out. So keeping with the common theme of most of my videos, when I say I'm done, I'm actually not done. There's always an encore of some sort. So this is kind of adding on to my video that I put out this week about the 1-to-1 rule and sitting back from an excavation. So when you have a short excavation such as we have here, the general rule is however far down those first set of anchors are, however far down they are from grade level, is how far back you have to sit. So those are down roughly 6 feet. As you can see over here, we have set back our dunnage 6 feet from the edge of the hole. Now that being said, don't ever assume that how far down they are is exactly how far back you sit. On sites like this, there's always going to be an engineer's report involved, so always get that anyhow. But as a general rule, 6 feet down, 6 feet back. If they're 5 feet down, you're 5 feet back, whatever. You will get some sites where they'll put in additional anchors, quite often where they're going to have their excavator set up for hauling material out, and they'll actually they'll put an extra anchor so you can sit up closer to the edge. Conversely, you get sites that are on very poor ground conditions, or they're not able to put the anchors in as far as they would normally, and you'll actually have to sit further back on the distance of how far down from the top those anchors are. But the general rule, the general guideline, kind of to be in the ballpark, is however far down the anchors are from the top, that's how far back you should be, at least. So, unless notified otherwise. Like I said, always get the engineer's report regardless. So that's the tip of the day, the encore tip of the day.